Today we'll be talking about one of my all-time favorite films by one of my all-time favorite directors, producers, writers, and composers. That's right, John Carpenter did it all in this film.
It stars Roddy Piper, Keith David, and Meg Foster. I am talking about the seminal classic B-movie. It came here to kick ass and chew gum, and it's all out of gum. They Live.
The idea for They Live came from a short story called 8 O'Clock in the Morning. The story was written by Rain Nelson. It was originally published in the magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction back in 1963. The story involved an alien invasion in the tradition of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But basically, they clone people and replace them in the real world with the clones. So this movie is loosely based on that idea. John Carpenter immediately said this movie was a critique on Reaganomics. It was a way for him to have a vehicle to take on Reaganism. Even with that being said, over the years, neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups seem to have latched onto this movie and co-opted it for their own purposes, spreading rumors that it's really a movie that's an allegory for Jews controlling the world. True fans of the film know that's not true. You know, we all know it's not true. In 2017, John Carpenter finally got fed up with it again, and he responded on Twitter, which that's the way you do things nowadays, that They Live is about yuppies and unrestrained capitalism. It has nothing to do with Jewish control of the world.
John Carpenter's new action thriller, They Live, continues his spine-tingling tradition of Halloween, Starman, and The Thing.
All of my films, in one way or the other, are about people who are trapped in situations where they are no longer able to control what's going to happen to them, or where they are, or what they're up against. The heroes are people who must rise to the occasion and face either ultimate evil or something that is so extraordinary and outside the realm of their experience. But through it, they show great dignity and warmth and caring for each other.
So another little factoid for you guys is that the infamous chewing gum speech, which is really one of the best speeches in a movie. I mean, it's recognizable to people that haven't even seen the movie. It was based on material Piper used in the ring back in his now WWE days. Back then it was the WWF.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Another interesting little tidbit, and this one's about Roddy Piper, is during the film you see Nada wearing a wedding ring in the movie. The reason he's wearing a wedding ring is because Roddy Piper was married at the time, but he refused to take the ring off.
You played a man named John Nada. Nada means nothing.
Let me
Nobody.
help you with that. Nothing. Yes.
He's nobody. He's
worm on the sidewalk when it's raining. That's what nada means.
But he's very important to our story. He's the guy who uncovers everything that happens.
They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of snakes is under their lips. And their mouths are full of bitterness and curses. And in their paths, nothing but ruin and misery. And the fear of God is not before their eyes. They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful. And they have blinded us to the truth.
So Roddy Piper plays this drifter that's trying to find construction work in LA, and he finds some, and he starts working, and he befriends this guy, Keith David, another construction worker, Frank Armitage, and they go to this shanty town, like, soup kitchen. Nada notices that there's a few odd things happening around this church. There's this blind preacher, and he starts chastising people to wake up, and another drifter starts complaining that his TV signal is interrupted by a man warning everyone about those in power. So it's like real conspiracy stuff, right?
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain.
John Nada eventually finds out the church is a front, and that the choir that you hear outside the church is an audio recording. The building's actually filled with scientific equipment and crates of equipment and cardboard boxes. And he finds a box that's hidden in this wall, but before he can look, he runs because the preacher notices him. So that night, the police attack and bulldoze the entire shantytown area. So Nada goes back the next morning and he finds that the church is empty, but that box he found hidden in the wall is still there. Or there's actually multiple boxes. So he takes one of the boxes and he takes it in an alley and he opens it up and the box just has a bunch of sunglasses. So he takes one of the pairs of sunglasses and he throws the other box, he hides it in the garbage. So what he does is he puts the glasses on and he finds out that they change the world around him, right? So instead of seeing everything in color, everything becomes black and white. But what he could see also is that all the advertising and the media, the news and everything, they're hiding subliminal commands to obey, consume, reproduce, and conform everywhere. By looking at certain world leaders and stuff, wealthy, powerful people, that they're actually aliens with skull-like faces, but only if you have glasses on. And then he sees one, like, use his wristband or wristwatch, and he just disappears. So he's a fugitive now, and he returns to the alley where he hid the glasses. Of course, they're gone because he hid them in the garbage can. He retrieves the box from a truck, and Frank's there now. So Nada tells him his story, tells everything that's happening. Frank thinks he's nuts, and says, "I don't want nothing to do with you. There's something wrong with you." Now's when this massive street fight starts. And it starts because Nada, Roddy Piper, is trying to get him to put these glasses on. And they're just fighting.
I'm giving you a choice. Either put on these glasses or start eating that trash can.
Not this year.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Come on. Come on.
There's an episode of South Park from about 15 years ago, and it's a horrible episode in a way because it's Timmy and Jimmy, and and everyone's yelling, "Cripple fight!" Well, the fight that they're having is the exact frame for frame, like South Park recreation of the fight, and they live.
You dirty motherfucker!
You dirty motherfucker!
That fight scene, we rehearsed for 2 weeks and we shot over 3 days. What was wonderful about it was the story of the fight, and how it increased and ebbed and flowed and escalated. It was modeled after The Quiet Man, John Wayne and Victor Lachlan. You know how they fight through the whole town. I was an older wrestling fan, so I knew Roddy, pound for pound, like one of the strongest cats I've ever met. He used to pick me up and go, "Hey, what should I do with him?" You know.
They're tired out enough, and he gets him to wear the glasses. And then Frank, like, he's like, "Holy shit, I get it now."
Now hold on.
This guy Gilbert, he's another one of the Shantytown members. He sees them and he tells them about a secret meeting. Basically, other people know about this, right? Clearly. Remember there was a broadcast earlier about don't believe whatever? They learned from this bearded man's broadcast that aliens look at Earth as a third world nation, right? And then they're just going to move on to another planet. And they're using subliminal messages into people's brains through the TV to keep everything hidden. The activists give Frank this stolen, it's the alien wristwatch, and it acts as a communications device and a teleportation device. Shortly after, the place is raided by the police. They start killing everybody off. Nada and Frank fight their way out. It's a giant, massive fight scene. It's great. They get cornered in an alley, and he throws the watch, and the watch opens a portal, and the two of them they jump in to escape, and they come out, and they're in these like underground passages, these underground tunnels. They have no idea where they're at. start trying to find stuff, and they come across a big banquet hall, right? Like a big grand ballroom. And in it are the aliens, and they have real human collaborators, all the rich people.
Go on, take a closer look.
Attention commuters. Flight Alpha 7 to Andromeda is now ready for boarding. Please step to the transmission platform.
That's where they come from.
All carry-on luggage must be held securely. Thank you for waiting, and we hope you have a pleasant trip.
So, they need to destroy the transmitter. It's just Frank and Nada, and they launch an attack, and they're taking out alien soldiers left and right. It's like an action game. It's awesome. They're fighting through to the building, and they're trying to get to this roof. A helicopter is hovering overhead, so he drops his weapons. So he acts like he's gonna surrender. Then he pulls out a hidden pistol, and he shoots the satellite dish, the broadcaster. It gets destroyed, and then he gets gunned down by the helicopter. As he's dying, he flicks off the helicopter because he knows he's destroyed the transmitter. Now they're going to be exposed for what they are. So we see that people are starting to see that these are real aliens, and then the film just abruptly ends.
Hey, what's wrong, baby?
It's a fantastic run, man. It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun.
So back when the movie was coming out, there was some concern about the release date of it because it was supposed to be released October 21st, 1988. The problem was that it was going to be in direct competition with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This movie had a budget of $3 million. For $3 million, it's rather well made. You could tell it's not a big budget blockbuster. I mean, lots of the scenes are filmed in alleyways and stuff like that. And because of the storyline and Roddy's character, it works. The soundtrack on this film was also composed by Carpenter, who's composed many soundtracks. The soundtrack composition is excellent. It fits the movie perfectly. It's a fantastic movie. It stands on its own. The closest one I can compare it to would be Big Trouble in Little China. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watch They Live, and I hope you like it as much as we do. I say we because while I do post these on my own website, if you're listening to this, you're listening to it through Squabblebox, and we at Squabblebox love John Carpenter, and we hope you guys do too. So give it a shot. And I'll talk to you guys again another time. Bye.